Alice in Chains, Angry Chair. Okay, so we'll start with this main intro riff here, and this isn't a drop D tuning. The key is E flat, so I'm assuming they might have just been in a standard dropped a half step, but unless you want to, change every string down a half step, we can just do a drop D and make this work just fine. And we'll start at the first fret here, of course, because we're in E flat, and we're just going to pick between clean, 1 on the low D here, 1 on the A, back to 1 on the low D, and then we're going to bend 2 on the A. All right, and that happens, with kind of a clean guitar, has some reverb on there, but, cleaner guitar. And, eventually we just get this big power chord that comes in with another guitar, and that's just, the E flat power chord here, just 1 on the low D, A, and middle D. All right, and then the verse comes in, and the heavy guitar does that initial riff that the clean guitar was doing. All right, just picking through that 1, 1, 1, bend the 2. Into the second riff, the chorus, I guess you could call it. It just bumps up a fret here, does some 2s, 2 on the DAD there, and just 1, 2, 3, 4, drops back down to a couple of 1s, a couple E flats there, 1, 2, and then it comes up and bends the 6 on that low D. And it'll crank that out a few times throughout the chorus. Bridge section, get into some more chords here. Kind of almost feels like a key shift, but ends up back where we usually are at the end. So it starts up at 6s on the DAD. We just hit that for the A flat power chord. Come up 2 frets to the 8s. All right, for the B flat. All right, drop down to 3s for the F. Up to 4 for the F sharp. And then it just comes back, does the 6s to 8s. And after that, we're going to drop back down to our first fret for that E flat. Hang there for a moment. Then we'll come up and we'll do 3 bends on the 6 of the low D. A lot of the solo, the first half of it feels just really noisy and dissonant. So nothing like super, iconic riffage. You could start it off by coming up way high here at the 22 on the high E. We're just going to bend that and just pick on it. All right. And then from there, we just drop down, hang out in this area for a bit, like slide up to the 6 low D, little vibrato there. Scale it up to a 4, 6 A to 4 on the D. Come back, hit that 4D to 6A. And then we'll be at the 6 on this D, give that a couple of bends, and then hit some 6s under it on the G. All right, and then just come up, do a few 8s on the G, back to 6. Now we're going to get into some more like, standard solo-ish type stuff. We'll come up all the way up here to the 13G, bend it, hit the 11B, 11E, and then bend the 14 on the B there. Finishing the solo, we'll stay in that same area we left off of. Give that 14B a bend and release off to 11. Scale it down with 13 to 11G, 13D. All right, do a couple 11s on the G, 13G, and then we'll keep it going to 15. All right, come down, hit 14B, 14E, then we'll do some bends on, a couple of bends on 16 to the high E. And then we'll finish it by doing this hammer-on pull-off on the B, 11 to 14. Do that a few times, and then just bend that 14, and then do some pick scrapes out of it.